This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with none other than Piper, who just watched The Rock's daughter's debut on NXT. She was on the NXT episode last night. They are not capitalizing on her being the daughter of arguably the most famous movie star, possibly one of the most famous people in the world. I believe he's been the highest paid actor numerous times. He just had kicked ass last weekend with Black Adams, number one movie everywhere again, being The Rock. So as Ken Kennedy said this in an interview with John Paz recently, and I agree with him. She looks like The Rock too, by the way, and she definitely has charisma. But wouldn't you want more people to watch and like capitalize that it's The Rock's daughter, just like Braun Breaker? Uh, for one thing, like you don't want to give him Rick Steiner's last name, but if it's because you want him to make it on his own, why do you have him in the same gear as Rick Steiner? And you've had Rick Steiner come out with him a bunch of times. It's just silly to me, but I guess they're making so much money, they don't care. The other thing that I actually did notice this, and I haven't felt this for a while in wrestling. When she, first of all, before I say something good, I will say one negative. I remember when Vince McMahon came out in the '90s and said the good guys versus the bad guys was passe, and people always make fun of the Dungeon of Doom and stuff, which I like the Dungeon of Doom, but they put her in this heel group with people full of people with accents. Most of them have like um, contact lenses, changing their eye colors, like this evil villain type group. So yeah, it's like I don't know what they're gearing their product towards, but the actual group seems pretty lame to me. However, as I was going to say, she has charisma, and I haven't felt this from wrestling in a long time. When she took the mask off, I actually like got tingles. Like, okay, this is The Rock's daughter. This girl is a star. Like this is a moment in wrestling history. The Rock's daughter debuting. She was good on the mic. As I said, I'm not a fan of the group. I think the group is lame, but she was impressive on the mic. And the other thing I noticed too, they put her in a heel group, and unlike her father, who people booed when he first came out, because Rocky Johnson and Peter Maivia had been off the grid for a while. People cheered when she took off her mask because they know it's The Rock's daughter because she looks like The Rock. So again, you're going to be going against the grain because people are going to want to cheer her. At least at first, they would have almost been if I was booking it, like introduce her as a face, and then if she gets booed after a few weeks, turn her heel. And Vince Russo said this too. WWE with Roman Reigns, when they were pushing him as a face down everyone's throat, they kept that going for like 2 or 3 years too long. They maybe more. I don't know. I wasn't really watching at that point, but like he's done better as a heel. He got over better as a heel. So in this case, I think it might even be the opposite. Unless she ends up being the shits in the ring, people are going to want to cheer her because she's The Rock's daughter. And there's not too many people out there that don't love The Rock. Not only for his movies, not only for his bodybuilding, his whole XFL thing, all the charity stuff he does, but because he's the most successful wrestler of all time. So I do think that's also a mistake, making her heel at first. I would have started her as a face. Festus says Braun Breaker is the main reason to watch NXT. Well, I will keep. I am curious to see The Rock's daughter's first match. I'll also watch that. Yes, the Rogo says she looks different than her development pictures. I would say that she's actually very, very attractive. I don't recall much from her development pictures, but like I remember that she was younger too. And I don't know if she had makeup. They may have been taken at a performance center training day, but like she looks like a star. She looks very attractive, and she had charisma. Yes, DK. She has had a bunch of injuries. I believe 3 surgeries. But again, you can work around injuries in wrestling, and you can be careful with who you put them with. You can put if they're going to be a star, you can put them with only the best workers that are definitely going to keep them protected. And I got news for you guys. WWE matches, all television matches, is 100% choreographed. The agents can put her in choreographed matches where the chances of her hurting herself are minimized. DK says the heel group has been courted for months. I mean, yeah, I mean, like the one guy with, like, you could actually see in the close up because the camera is good that it's like clearly an eye contact, and just the ridiculous accents. And I think one had a Scottish, one had a British, but like particularly the Scottish guy, I could barely understand him with his accent. And he went on longer than she talked for. I think she talked for the least of the 4 of them, and she's all anyone wanted to hear from. The Rag Ghost says best of luck to her. Crying, he wishes nothing but success. John says, let's be real. Al says, heels in the long run make the best baby faces. Yeah, but again, they're debuting her as a heel when everyone hasn't seen The Rock in the ring for so long. This is the closest they've got to The Rock. So it's like they just want to cheer for her. But they're like, they've put her in this corny. This guy said it right. It's a very corny heel group. As Vince McMahon said in that 1990s speech when he introduced the Attitude Era, the babyface versus heel is passe. And this is like a corny 1980s heel group, but less cool than the 80s heel group because the Scottish guy had good size, but the other 2 guys were small. So again, I hate to say this, but I don't like small wrestlers. I know they have a place, but not only are they corny, but there's only one of the guys that looks like a wrestler, and of course The Rock's daughter looks like a star. Lots of people wish her success. Someone says one of them looks like Seth Green, the actor. Her dad could be the next WWE owner, but how much time does The Rock have between his movies, running a football league? I mean, I don't know if this would be the first thing on his plate. Oh, 351 Cleveland says maybe she should be called the Pebble. Alice, The Rock has actually formally said he's not going to run ever for political office. As I just said, he's got a hell of a lot on his plate. I mean, he's not going to take time from his own investments to do that. And anyways, he said he's not going to do it. Al says they're giving her the Luna treatment when she was with Kevin Sullivan's Army of Darkness. Now, to be fair, Kevin Sullivan's Army of Darkness was a very cool heel group and very original. And like those were badass characters. Like Kevin Sullivan, he's like an old grandpa now, but like he does have a violent side. He 100% has a violent side. And he's him and Nancy back in the days, they were badass. And Mark Lewin, I mean, I've heard tons of stories about Mark Lewin and his bar fights. And then they had the guy with all the reptiles who apparently was like, don't quote me on this, but from what I hear, he was like some type of drug dealer. I mean, these guys were all real I'm not putting over that that's great, but like these people were legitimately bad people, and the group was original. So I wouldn't compare this NXT group to the Army of Darkness in the 80s Florida Championship Wrestling. As Fester says, that was the best ever. They were original. They were doing some really crazy stuff and getting crazy heat and like doing wild stuff that you would never put on TV today. Anyways, this went on longer than I expected. Best of luck to the Rock's daughter. I definitely think she has potential. You guys know me. I wouldn't say that otherwise. And yes, Ivan, superstar Billy Graham, the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour, was also in Kevin Sullivan's Army of Darkness. And actually, Kevin said superstar with the snakes. He was doing it before Jake was doing it, because I guess originally they were giving the snakes to Billy Graham. So Jake, and even before that, honestly, the Sheik, the original Sheik, would occasionally bring snakes to the ring, from what I recall. But yeah, Fester agrees. Yeah, so Jake was not the originator of that, but he popularized it. Have a great night. I'll be back with the news and the NXT rating in a bit.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest